Morning John, back from me holidays, and today we're going to have a look at the Royal Talens Van Gogh oil pastels. Just to do a review come guide. Now, as I say, until I do an actual painting with a set of oil pastels, these are only guides. I will review them once I've done full-blown paintings. But somebody's asked me if I could guide them on the Van Gogh oil pastels, Rev Joan, I believe. Whatever that means name-wise, I don't know, but it'd be nice if I could hear. Anyway, these are the Van Gogh made by Royal Talens. And as you can see, it's actually a really nice colour range. Now, look, you've got these lovely umbers. What you have here is a pearlescent white, and you have an ordinary white up there, and you have, oh, it's black. So there's a pearlescent white, and there's a gold and a silver, and a, oh no, it's a light gold, a deep gold, and a silver. Now, in all honesty, unless I was doing something specific, I cannot see myself using any of them for. So if you're just into ordinary like landscape painting and what have you, they're really not worth their while. However, having said that, you've got lovely blacks, lovely umbers and warm greys. These are just absolutely fantastic colours. These greys here are superb. You've got like your sepias, your raw umbers, and then a selection of browns going into light reddy browns, ochres and greens. The greens, a couple of lovely greens there, especially that one, for me anyway in particular, and that one. And it then goes into blues. That's a lovely light blue for skies, things like that, and so is this one, and that one too. And then it goes into some violets. That's a lovely violet. That's actually called ultramarine in this packet. They've all got names and they've all got numbers because you can buy them individually. That's a lovely colour. Darks are always a bonus in oil pastels. That's phthalo blue. We'll see what that looks like in a minute. Then you go into purples and into reds. That's a lovely deep red, that one. Love that one. And that's a lovely orangey red. I'm thinking about certain things when I say that I like certain colours. Going into these, that's a nice yellow. That's similar. And then you've got a couple of whites here. What have we got? We've got white, and we've got, oh, it's a colourless blender. Did not know that. Now, having said that about a colourless blender, I don't get the point, if I'm being honest. I've tried them, and I can't say I've particularly got on with them. I'm going to try them again, just to see if I can get to grips, because nobody really seems to know too much about these colourless blenders, so I will get to grips with this. For me, it's just adding on more oil pastel where oil pastel doesn't actually need to be, so it's just taking up two for the paper. But we'll see. We'll sort that one out when it comes to it. So they're just general, ordinary, standard sticks. Oh, that's a green grey, that's lovely. You can buy them individually. I know for a fact there's a set of 24 of these. I'm not sure if there's a set of 36 or 48. I would imagine there'd be a set of 48. And they are deemed to be professional. Well, we'll see about that. They are on the cheaper end of the professional spectrum, price-wise, and probably standard-wise, but of course I'm not going to judge them too soon. Price-wise, you can buy these anywhere in the UK between, well, I must admit I bought mine for £19, which is an exceptional value, and you can buy them anything between sort of £20 and £30 for a set of 60. So that's not too bad at all. That's actually a really nice, good price. So what you want to know is, how do they blend? Well, blending in a demo, of course, is different to blending in a picture, but we'll see what they do. So I'm going to get colours I don't normally use, I used to blend with. So here we go. Use this purple. Right, the feeling. What I have is, a moderately hard feeling, but quite soft at the same time, if that makes sense. They're solid, but when you apply them to the paper, there's a feeling of softness about them, if that makes sense. Now, this does look like it's a transparent colour, so I'm going to say that there's probably a lot of transparent colours in these. And I'm going to put another one next to it. That looks as if that's having a bit of a job to overlayer, if I'm being honest. And again, it looks quite transparent. Is there any light fastness information on it? I don't concern myself with oil pastels and light fastness overly, because most of them are quite good anyway. Yes, there is. This is a 3+, so I'm going to assume that's a good light fastness. So let's try this dark colour over the top of that purple. That goes better. That looks more like an opaque colour. That's a lovely colour, that is, for certain things. Do they say opaque? No, there's nothing. There's pigment information, so that gives you an idea of what the standard is meant to be like. So let's see how that blends, shall we? We'll go from the lighter colours down into the darker colours. I'm not impressed at the moment. I mean, I'm blending lightly like I normally would, and they are blending. They are, in my opinion, acceptable. You would get yourself a nice picture out of these probably, but you'd have to really work with them, I think, a bit more, because I can still see the paper through these, whereas a lot of the other opaque type pastels I can't. This blue, that's blending quite nice, so it might just be certain colours that are not quite so good. Yeah, that blue's blending down quite nice, and I'm losing the colour of the speckles of the paper underneath, so that's not bad. Yeah, they're not bad. They're not the best I've encountered, but then that's offset by the price, isn't it? So, and they, like I say, one of the pluses for these is that they do let you buy them individually, which is a big bonus, whereas, you know, brands like the Mungos, as yet, the Mungo Gallery soft ones, don't as yet. So let's try 3 different colours. I think that would be a good idea. Let's try this brown. Again, you can feel there's a certain amount of hardness there, solidity. That looks more opaque. So I'm going to say some colours are opaque and some are not. Pigment, not too bad. Let's go down into this colour. See if this colour will overlay. Don't expect it to overlay that greatly. No, it's not overlaying that great, so... And it's picking up a lot of gloop, which some do, some don't, so you have to work with that and be careful when you're colouring pictures not to take the gloop into the next colour. Yeah, they're not too bad. I'm not going to tell you my favourite or the best, because they definitely are not, but they are far, far, far from the worst. Let's just blend these 3 colours together. You've got a little bit of flaking, nothing that I'd worry about, to be perfectly honest with you, because that just all blends in, doesn't it? Okay, so let's just see how that blends. Of course, there are things and factors that affect oil pastels, such as the heat temperature outside or indoors. It's not the warmest of days today where I am, and that is affecting. Now, these are not blending fantastically, but you could get away with it. So on the whole, I'm going to say I'm not massively impressed, but I'm not unimpressed either. So if I was to give them a mark out of 10, judging on all the other pastels that I've looked at, I'd probably say at this moment in time I'd give them maybe a 6 or a 7, so that's not too bad. Let's have a look at the white, see if that does anything. It's not great, but then you don't expect that with whites, especially not when they've got a little bit of solidity to them. So, but you can overlay and blend colours out, you know, soften them in, make them a bit more pastel with the white, so that's good. So I think they're not going to be the best for layering, but they're not going to be the worst. Sorry, I keep saying that. But they're good. They're good. Good, but not brilliant. Let's have a look at the pilling aspect. We always look at the pilling, don't we? So let's zoom in for that. Alright, okay. So pressing quite hard. It's not the worst I've come up with, to be fair. Let's have a look at blending with the finger. Yeah, that's not too bad at all, really. I mean, I'm pressing quite hard. I wouldn't suggest pressing hard. Let's try it on here. Yeah, that's quite good. Actually, in all honesty, it seems to be blending better with my finger, these particular pastels, than what they would with the cotton bud. So that's a little bit of a revelation in itself. But yeah, it's not bad, but not great. So on the whole, I do love the colour selection. The pastels themselves, they will give you a decent picture. Not the best, but decent. You can buy them individually. They give you pigment and light fast information if you're interested in that sort of thing. So not too bad. Let's have a look at this colourless blender. I mean, would you put it on top? Would you put it beneath? I don't really know. Let's have a look. Let's take a bit of blue on top and see what we can do with it. So we can use a little bit of blue. I mean, I'm assuming that it's for spreading stuff out. I do know about the colourless blender, but like I say, I don't really see the point. It seems to be a bit pointless to me. It seems to be that they could put another colour in rather than this. You know, any one that I've used hasn't really done much. Not for my style of painting anyway. Some people might get on with it. I haven't seen anybody that does it yet, if I'm being honest. So there we go. There's a quick review of the Royal Talens Van Gogh oil pastels. So thank you for joining me again. I hope that was worth it. It was just a guide. That's all they are, guides right at this moment in time. Until I've used them for pictures, then I'll review them and say, yay, brilliant or not so brilliant. At the moment, I can only give a guide and an opinion on that guide. And I hope to see you in the next video. And please do like, subscribe and share wherever you can. And click that bell. Anyway, wherever you are, please have a great day, a great week and a great year. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.